Hello guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the Confused Yorkshireman podcast, where me being myself, that is George, who I am, and my two friends here, Ben and Frank, would you two like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Ben.
I'm Frank.
And they're my friends.
Are we?
Yes. So, what we do in this podcast, we just ask each other a random question each week, so we all bring a random question to the table. I'll start this week since I am hosting. So, my question for this week is, I'm just reading it. What is it? If you could start a cult, what would your cult be? Can be anything. It doesn't need to be like your classic, Cthulhu cult. It could be a cult that forms a scandal of taking cheese strings from children.
I
Your
don't
cult
know
can
if
be
that's
whatever
a
you want.
cult or if it's just a small-time crime.
Well, if it's a gathering of people to do it. But thinking about it, could you class the Yakuza as a cult? Because it's organized. It's almost like I don't know, what's the definition of a cult? I probably should have looked this up before.
That would be a good thing to know before you do that.
When I think cult, I just think it something religious or something that has this ceremony to it. You do it.
Well, all religions are cults.
I mean, even in like religions themselves, a lot of the time the official terms for something is a cult.
Yeah, but you could. Then you're
Like-
looking up the definition of what a religion is.
Okay, so this is the first definition of it. A system of religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object.
So it's a
you
religion.
could be religious towards an anime waifu, and then you've got
Yes.
the cult of Riez from High School DxD, which obviously exists because everyone
Firstly,
loves her.
why is this the second time in a row that you brought up High School DxD?
I don't know. I've only watched 5 episodes of it, but it sticks in my brain like
I
I've
wonder
watched
why it's
5
in
seasons
your
of it.
brain in particular.
I remember the scene where the demon girl shoots bullets out of her boobies.
This is okay. Now, once again, you're talking about firing things at your titties, and
Yeah, I'm a very simple man. I only remember very
I
simple
remember
things.
2 things: gunshots and breasts. I am a Texan.
I am
I-
Yorkshire.
Oh my god.
But yeah, now that we've determined what a cult
Well,
is,
there is a second definition as well. It is a person or thing that is popular or fashionable among a particular group or section of society.
It's
so
me.
what you could say is I am a cult because I am popular and fashionable and
I don't think we're popular enough yet.
I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about me.
George himself is a
Our
cult.
point still stands.
Can we be like Charles Manson?
I mean, he did form a cult.
Like,
Did you want your own family?
I mean,
Like-
if you want to do that,
I don't know what Charles Manson actually did. I just know he's a big. Was he the guy
he-
that founded?
he-
He
to-
convinced a bunch of people to kill some celebrities.
yeah.
What?
Yeah,
What are you laughing about that? That's not funny, Frank.
and
What?
one of the people that they killed was a pregnant woman as well.
Jesus Christ! What?
I think she was called Sharon Tate.
It were one in. I've not seen the movie, but there's a Quentin Tarantino movie, isn't there?
I watched that
What,
other day actually.
what is
See
it?
the
What
guy
happens in Hollywood? That's
It's
all
like
about it, isn't it?
Once
It-
upon
doesn't
a
it-
time in Hollywood, yeah.
doesn't what's her face? Margot Robbie play Sharon Tate?
Tate. Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
But in this
Is-
movie, they don't die. Not to spoil it.
Whoa!
Yeah,
spoiler.
right. I was actually looking at that movie today on Netflix, and I'm going to watch it.
It was all right. It didn't really feel like a Quentin Tarantino film until like the end. I don't think.
Good, because I'm sick of Quentin Tarantino films.
Are you?
I think they're very overrated. I like Inglourious Bastards, and that's about it. Pulp Fiction's. I've watched it that many times, and it's just I still don't get it. Maybe I'm just a simpleton, but I just don't enjoy watching it. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Same with Hateful Eight. I didn't even finish that because I'm like, I don't care. Django were all right because it was just a simple story, but
It's a simple revenge story. He gets to shoot
Yeah.
people. It's good. I like Django.
Have you always been alone? Plus, it
Is
had a good
Charles
soundtrack.
Manson the one who had the Kool-Aid? Was that him? Or was that
No.
someone else?
Kool-Aid.
Oh, what is his name
Is
now?
the one who's got the swastika like engraved into his head? He like carved it in with a knife. I don't know if he did it, but he's got that.
I mean,
That's
I
all I
assume
remember.
he got
He's
someone
got
else to do it,
curtains.
because that's got to be difficult, right? To carve something
Well-
into your own forehead.
If you were like part of a neo-Nazi cult, bringing it back to cults, I'm sure you wouldn't mind doing stuff like that. If you were
If I was in a
religious
cult,
about,
if I had to join a cult, I probably wouldn't join the neo-Nazi one.
well,
Probably.
why not?
Well, I don't know what cults there are. If it's like neo-Nazi cult or like murder every baby cult, I guess like like but can't I just join a nice cult? Can we have a
No,
nice
the cult
cult?
has to do terrorism, Frank.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I
You
have to
need
join
to
it.
perform on
It's just a
terrorism.
terrorist organization, though.
Well, you could argue that
It's
a
not a
terrorist
cult.
organization is a cult, as long as they're
It is.
idolizing something religiously.
Yeah.
But we have to start a cult. That's your question.
Yeah,
we have to be
your cult
part
can
of
be
it.
around whatever. So, like, say you've got it abandoned object. Do you start the cult of worshipping the samurai, and you just worship that?
Ugh.
You just
The cult of
worship.
Bushido.
Yeah, you just worship the idea of being a samurai, and it's just
I-
loads of people being samurai.
Is that a cult
mean,
or
that's
is that
quite-
an ideology?
Ideologies would be a cult, wouldn't they?
I feel like the term cult is very.
I think you can argue with that. Ideologies are cults.
Wait a minute.
Or like governments are, at least.
Government is a cult.
Yeah.
The way
Uh,
of the samurai.
That's not real
Ugh.
sword. It's wood. You're still
Where's-
in training, young.
Young Padawan.
I wasn't gonna say Padawan because that's not
That's the
samurai, but I don't know
Jedi.
what the samurai one is.
It's probably some word in Japanese.
Mm.
I don't speak Japanese, unfortunately. I only know two
Ah.
languages.
Yeah, I found out
Nihongo
who the Kool-Aid
Jyozu.
guy was.
Yes.
What was that?
I found out who the Kool-Aid guy was. It was
Oh,
Jim
who-
Jones.
Jim
what's the-
Jones.
Yeah,
That sounds
in
like
the
the most.
Jonestown massacre.
That's
What's
the most
this? The
generic
Kool-Aid
name.
guy. I've never
So-
heard of the Kool-Aid guy.
So there's a guy called Jim Jones. He formed a cult pretty much, and he got a big following. He went down to one of, I think it was like a South American or Central American country, in a city called Jonestown, probably named after him.
I've heard of a Jonestown massacre. Is that it?
That's it, yeah.
They all
And,
drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it made all his followers drink Kool-Aid, which was poisoned, and all the followers made their kids drink it as well. That's why we're Kool-Aid,
So
and it was the biggest mass suicide there is, or something like that.
Yeah, obviously I've heard of the suicide. I didn't realize they did it by poisoning Kool-Aid and drinking it.
yeah, it's
I mean-
it's the joke is drink
Do you
the
think something
Kool-Aid.
like that could take down Coca-Cola?
I think they're not affected.
He did take down Kool-Aid, like so. They're
I'm
fine.
sure
They've
it
still got the.
affected like their stocks or something.
Yeah, stock is drastically
Well, you
dropped.
see what happened was they all drank the drink, and then the Kool-Aid man punched through the wall and just started just going to town. That's what
Oh
happened.
my god! When you say Kool-Aid man, it reminded me. This week, I ended up finding a video on YouTube, and it was all of the Pepsi Man commercials back to
Can that
back.
be a cult? Can it be the
If you-
cult of Pepsi Man?
What? And you all dress up as Pepsi Man and run around the streets?
Yeah. We give people Pepsi and just.
I hate
just-
the Pepsi Man.
I
don't know
who
who
thought
Pepsi
of-
Man is.
You don't know
You-
Pepsi Man?
I've never seen Pepsi
Google
Man.
Man!
it. You've never
You-
seen
you-
Pepsi Man.
You didn't hang around with. I'm not going to say his name, but one of our mates in high school, did you? Because his phone like ringtone was Pepsi Man for a very long time. It would just go Pepsi Man, and I'm just like, you motherfucker! Like, stop reminding me that exists every time.
I remember. Well, I don't. I say I remember. I remember because I watched it like the other day. They did a female Pepsi Man one, and it was
There was
very
a fem-
sexualized. Yeah,
Of course,
it was like. Do you know when they did the lemon Pepsi? She had like the lemon balaclava on because they just put a a yellow balaclava on Pepsi Man for when they did the lemon Pepsi
Yep.
because And there were
Yeah,
a woman one, and they were the same commercial, but one was a man one and one was a female one. And the man one did like the at the end, and the lady one did like a sexy like tease with her body. I don't know how to describe it.
She did
Almost
a
like she were gearing
sexy
up to go for a
pose.
lap dance. Yeah.
Well, that's advertising, isn't it? It's all like as soon as you see it, because advertising. The idea is, at least the statements and the theories and stuff like that, because it gets into like fucking gender politics, and I am not qualified enough to talk about that. But the idea is, in a lot of advertisement, the male that you see on an advert is who you want to be. It's the idea of this male ideal. So the advert targets you by showing you the ideal man who you would like to be, and then when they put a woman in front, it's like you want that woman. Because a lot of your advertisements, especially your sort of your male targeted ones, are like that. It's wild to see like the way adverts targeted at different demographics just completely change the tone of it. Like, I think it's is it I think it's Coors Light or something like that. Something it's one of the American beer companies, and when they're showing it, their adverts during sort of your evening entertainment after sort of like wrestling and all your manly shows. It's this guy really sweatily coming home from work after doing a long day building, and he's like jacked, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm exhausted," and he goes to the fridge and grabs this Coors Light and drinks it. Whereas the advert that's on during your sort of daytime stuff, after say you're generally aimed at women shows, your shows that are aimed at housewives, they completely change it all out to be, after all, like your sort of your house menial tasks, your stuff that you're cooking, you're cleaning and stuff like that, and then it's them going, oh, and then it's wild to see how much effort goes into targeted advertising. Like, it's so directed at certain people, and especially in the modern age, like we got like, it's weird how direct adverts are. I will talk about something
I
in a
remember a
fucking
funny advert thing about Ben. Do you remember the
oh
time you wanted to learn how to tie a certain knot? I'm pretty sure we talked about this on podcast. But
Yeah, outside noose.
yeah, how
It
to
just
tie a noose,
brings
and then
up,
all your adverts were just seek help here.
Yeah, suicide hotline.
Yeah.
But straight up, like, if you Google something like how to tie a noose, they start putting you on like fucking. It's wild.
It's like if you. I'm not going to say that. What is it? But they're
Like,
all no.
well, to be fair, that's a lot of if you type like a lot of, if you start saying like
How
I
to
want to
hide a
die,
murder.
I don't know if they do that. What if you
How-
incognito tab it? If I have to hide a body, I'm at least using
It's not
incognito.
quite how incognito tab works, Frank. I hate to tell you this.
The government can't tell what I'm doing incognito. I can look up how to make as many incendiaries as I want. I used to know how to make napalm. I don't anymore, but like I used to.
But so sorry, what?
I
You
looked up
used
how
to
to make.
know how to make. How do you make napalm? What?
I used to, there's very easy ways to
Why-
find how to
There's
make.
so many questions here. Why? First of all, why? Let's just
I
go
was
through the question. Why?
curious.
How?
Maybe I should be the
Why?
cult leader. If I can get napalm, all right. I don't
Well,
know
the
what
cult
level.
leader needs
the
to be
cult of
very
napalm.
charismatic.
I'm charismatic. You told me that, Ben.
Yeah, needs to be very charismatic and narcissistic.
Well, I'm not narcissistic.
That's what
I just
makes
know,
cult leaders.
I'm not narcissistic. I just know what I deserve, and it's the
Okay.
best.
What about the cult of the Giga Chads? And everyone, it's a male only cult, of course, because you can't be a female Giga Chad. Or can you? I don't know. It's
I've got female
2021.
chads. Have you ever encountered
Female
a female that gives off
Fine
massive
then.
chad energy? God.
The sexually indiscriminate Giga Chads.
Okay, when you call someone sexually indiscriminate, I don't know what that means, but it sounds terrifying.
I'm not
Like,
sure
it's
what it
like
means, but
you walk into a room and they are sexual. They don't care what's in this room. It is sexual time.
I weren't thinking like they're a sexual person. I'm thinking as in you can't determine their sexuality, or their sexuality doesn't matter, is what I'm trying to. The Giga Chad.
No one's sexuality matters.
Male.
Fuck it. Like,
Well, it does if you want to have babies, all right.
IVF, adoption. They are currently looking into. Oh, did you know they're currently looking into making babies from two female parents? because if you get the genetic material out of the bone marrow of one woman, you can they worked out a way basically where you get the chromosomes and all the DNA information from that, and you could just slam it into another woman's egg, and it
Yeah, but
fucking binds up like as though a sperm would. So you
imagine
have
being that kid in school who has been born from two mothers. You'd get
you would
bullied
be a
so
woman.
much.
You would be a woman.
Yeah,
Like you can't be a guy from that because you basically there's no chromosomes for it basically.
what if you?
If
What
you
if the
both your
fetus works that hard that it generates more chromosomes?
that's not how chromosomes work.
Prove it.
I can't. I'm not a scientist. Did you know?
Anyway,
Getting
back
on-
to cool. What? Right. What was
They
I
could
saying?
make a
Cults
cult
of
of
the
the
giga
females.
jet.
And
What-
Oh, it's like
Is it like Futurama Snoo?
or just
Amazons.
Amazonian women.
Amazonian
Oh my
women, yeah.
god! Yes.
Yeah.
The Amazonian women are
the
better again.
robot behind the scenes who made the cult.
Well,
Oh,
that's
that's a cool cult idea. You just make an AI that is the leader of the cult. Then you got to
Well,
make an AI, and that's a lot of work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd
That's
be
the only
cool
thing
though.
stopping me from making a cult. Just the amount of work, really. Like, you know,
Yeah.
God,
Wait.
like Ben,
Well, I mean,
remember
if you
trying to
could have
manage
your
that
own
Warcraft
cult.
guild? Imagine trying to manage a whole cult. You'd be like, oh, we want to do a raid tonight. You know, no
Yeah,
one's
but if you
fucking
think
showing
about
up.
it, a Warcraft guild is basically a cult.
I guess.
You
No,
idolize
it's not.
the loot you get from raiding.
I didn't get any fucking loot. I got like 2 pieces of gear. The amount of times we ran Castle Nafria and I got 2 pieces of fucking gear.
Well, to
We
be
might as
fair,
well
we
just
never made it that far into it
we
either.
might as well
How many
fucking
times would we kill a boss though?
we killed fucking that
We kill
Shriekwing
like
a lot.
one boss every week.
My favorite thing is when we were like 7 weeks in, and then people died to Shriekwing, and we were like, "Motherfuckers, we worked this guy out a month ago.
And we had worse gear as well.
Like, how? How are we doing this?" And then my favorite was when it was a demon hunter that was getting hit by the fucking AoE shit, and I'm like, "You have the most mobility. Your class is designed to not get hit by this. How are you getting hit by this?"
You know what's funny? Having to play healer.
I'm so glad I picked warrior. I was like, I have 2 options: DPS or tank. I don't have to sit
I
here
didn't
and
want to
heal.
heal that much of that. I picked the most DPS healy option I could. And it ended up being better than the normal heal.
Well, because you were fist sweep. Oh man, I won't lie. That
Alright,
I think
let's
let's
stay
play
away from
WoW.
WoW for a bit now.
I want to play WoW.
I want to
Guys,
stop.
New World. Not to date this episode, but New World's coming out soon.
what's
The
new?
new
One?
hit
It's
MMO from
the
Amazon.
I don't want to.
That didn't have all boosts.
I
and
think
shit
you'd
to it,
actually
though.
like the look of it the instant you see it. It's very Souls and sort of Berserk and that sort of influence of thing.
Ooh.
It's like it's a bit more colourful, but you just look at the armor and you think, yeah, that's influenced by that sort of Western. Well, I say Western, Berserk's not Western, but you know
It's
what I mean.
it's medieval European aesthetic,
Hmm.
and I'm a slut for medieval
I
Europe.
haven't heard that many good things about it so far yet, though.
Well, it's early.
I watched Asmongold stream it, and he turned on the text to speech in game, and even though he turned it off, it queued up all of his chat for a long time. And I just started laughing at him. Oh, that
I
was
just remember
funny.
from videos before they were saying like it's.
Well, it's early days of an MMO, so there's not going to be a lot of content.
I was watching a
Well,
video
it's
and it
not
says,
that. It's what they're planning on doing with it, with like the in-game shop, like with loads of boosts and shit
God.
like that.
yeah, but it's
Well, of course
Amazon,
it
isn't
It sounds paid to win some parts of it.
How are we going to send Jeff Bezos to space
He's
without?
already been to space. He's
Well,
gone.
he wants to go again.
He wants to
It's
go
his
again.
dream, Ben. Ever since he was a kid.
I'm just a kid with a dream. Now, you're
My
not going to get
dream is to
paid a
start a
living
cult.
wage.
It's Amazon a cult?
It's weird, actually, because a lot of businesses, the way they kind of get you to sort of care about what's going on is kind of culty when you think about it.
It's
The
like
whole
pyramid
idea.
schemes.
Oh my god, pyramid schemes are just big cults.
Yeah.
Should we start a pyramid scheme? That's my cult. I'm starting a pyramid scheme.
To make Scientology.
Fuck it. Why not? If I could be the leader of Scientology, I would be. Think about how much bank that guy's making. I'd probably try and make my cult like a general force for good in the world, just so I can sleep at night. You know?
You don't say general force and then precede it by the word good.
No.
Why is
You
it
see,
a force?
well, you see, some people in the world aren't good, and I'm going to make them good by force.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
going to teach the world of our peaceful ways by force.
My cult's
Gonna
going to
bend
be stealing children and indoctrinating them to make them into super soldiers that worship me.
I'd make them super.
Not super soldiers. That's very
That's
nice.
cult secrets, Ben. Cult secrets.
Okay.
Kinda
Okay.
bit of genetic modification and all that.
How do you genetically modify
Cult secrets.
cult secrets? Cult secrets. Oh,
Yeah.
so
Why can't you know what? I'm just gonna have a simple cult. I'm just gonna have the cult of pleasure. I've just
The-
realised that's why it's
So
called
it's
in
just a sex
Warhammer.
cult.
Yeah, it's just
That's
a
what
sex
it's called
cult.
in
We
Warhammer,
just
but it
meet
is-
we just meet once a week and we all have sex.
that's just a fuck farm.
Is it just an orgy club?
I
That's
mean,
just
yeah.
that is just a fuck farm.
You know
George.
what?
It does exist.
It's easy as well. If someone
wants
doesn't
his
show
own.
up to the fuck farm, as Frank puts it, then you know what? They might be there next week. It's
Do you
chill.
go
We're
up in
not
rank?
causing any crime. We're just enjoying ourselves.
Do you gain ranks in this cult?
No, it's indiscriminate. You have to wear a mask.
You gain ranks based on the feedback at the end. As you leave, everyone gets a form, right? You have to mark everyone out of 10. Whoever gets the highest rating for that week gains points. It's a competitive rank-based system.
You get
So
to
you-
go on this time.
You've got tiers. So you've got like iron, bronze, silver, gold.
What do you get for these different ranks?
You
You
get a
get to be
badge.
a receiver rather than a giver. Those
get
at the
a
bottom have to give all day.
So
You
You're not
there are
allowed
two
to
ranks.
The
You
ones
get
at the bottom aren't allowed to come. They've got to edge the entire time.
Oh God.
What? Was that too much for you guys?
I-
Well, you were asking like this. That could be a legitimate thing, and people would get off of that. People would purposely perform bad to get a low rank so that they could be teased.
But if you know they enjoy it and they don't deserve that rank, you can force them to go up.
Yeah, I'm
Are you gaming the sex ranking system? It's fucking.
It's cool.
Are
He's
you
a
a
leader.
Smurf?
Do I gain honor from this? Is this a PvP or a PvE situation? Like
I feel like
PvE,
sex is a
shooting
PvP.
machines.
PvE is just flashlights.
Yeah.
Oh God! I can make you come before you make me come.
Why did you turn into Solid Snake there?
That's a lot.
Awesome,
about
I
that?
can make you come.
What about the anime you watch?
Why do you think it's called Solid Snake?
My name's Otacon. It stands for Otaku Convention. Thanks,
I'm
Otacon.
Punish Snake.
Amanda
Anyway.
Knight has come.
But yeah, there's a nice easy one, and no one's harmed. You just,
So
I mean-
you're
I mean,
forming a
it depends
sex
what kind
cult.
of sex you're having.
I mean, it's
I'm assuming
completely
everyone's shown-
consensual.
I'm assuming everyone who's willingly come to the sex cult is into it.
Well,
I
yeah.
hope so.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like a sex cult. It wouldn't need to be a secret thing either. Like, if say,
I feel like
if-
most
You do not want it to
individuals,
be.
most individuals wouldn't want it open knowledge they're part of a sex cult.
first rule of sex cult: don't talk about sex cult. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It can be like Phantom of the Opera, but you just take the like masks part of it, and everyone wears a mask.
With the
and it's fine.
masquerade.
Yeah, it's a masquerade. Yeah, it's a sex masquerade. Orgy.
So you want to have masked sex with people as your cult. My cult is Scientology, where I'm just
and if you wear a
stealing
mask,
people's money.
you don't have to worry about your partner.
God.
They won't know
It's
you're wearing
not
a mask.
cheating if you're wearing a mask.
Both of you have girlfriends.
It's okay. My girlfriend don't watch this.
How come?
Mine does.
Well, she now knows your opinion on cheating, which is it doesn't count if you're wearing a mask.
It's why Ben
just-
won't come to anime conventions because he's too scared to accidentally put on a mask.
No.
He might just start
Nah.
fucking people.
Now Ben's just going to receive a selfie from his girlfriend where she's wearing a mask.
Okay.
George almost spat his fucking drink out there.
Yeah, that'd be. I would have a lot more respect for your girlfriend. Not saying I don't have respect for her, but I don't know. But I'd be like, you know what? You're a chad.
My dad also watches these as well, so I'm looking forward to that.
Your dad is more than welcome to join, Michael.
I'd play no.
Don't fuck Ben's dad. Stop.
Oh, you know what?
Is
I'm
it
sticking
against
with
the
that.
bro code?
I've got it.
That
We've
is-
got a ranked system. That's the cult of pleasure. You know,
That's
I can't
just
call
like-
it that. I just think of dark elves.
Dark elves. I don't know. Just call it the fuck farm. That's what it is.
No, farming's hard.
So's
Anyway, we know about my cult, guys. What are you guys thinking?
I'm thinking Scientology, because then it's just a pyramid scheme.
Well, you're just copying Scientology.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna change like the names. Like, what are they gonna do? Fucking sue
Sue
me?
you. They'll probably sue you for saying it right now.
You know what? Come
Saying
for me,
it's cool.
Scientologists. Come
We've
for
got
me.
no money.
Yeah, I don't have any money. You can kill all three of us. You can't.
Whoa, I've not spoken at all. Don't kill me.
Nah,
my
George.
college,
I mean,
yeah.
you've sent me a lot of messages about saying how much you hate Scientology. Don't worry. We all.
You know what?
Fuck
I don't even know what Scientology is. What the fuck's
They
Scientology?
worship Xenu.
Who's
Big
Xenu?
spaghetti alien monster.
Xenu is an alien who dropped the genetic material for humanity in a volcano, and then when the volcano erupted, it spewed the genetic humanity all over the world, and that is where life came from.
Well, I've seen a lot of genetic humanity spewed in my lifetime.
Have you?
Yes. I was
Okay.
Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean,
What's your cult?
it could have happened.
I was thinking.
I mean, life could be a simulation, right?
Yeah.
Go on, Ben. Go
Sure.
on, Ben.
I was thinking, I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed recently, so maybe secret societies sort of things, like.
What's
Gonna
the?
form
Wait,
the
are you
assassins.
the Templars or the Assassins?
Well, I'm gonna make my own. I was thinking more in line with like stonemasons.
So Ben wants to be the Templars.
If I'm leading, that'll be good.
That's what leaders say.
That's what they all say. That's me being like the dictator of a nation, being like, it's fine, I'm benevolent. Like,
I'm the
that's
good
not how it-
one. They're not
Do you not think
dying
I'd be a
fast
good
enough.
ruler?
Yeah, no, I don't think you would be a good ruler. You could organise a guild in WoW, Ben.
Please don't execute me. Man, the
Yeah.
fucking guild would show up to raids if Ben was the dictator of the fucking nation.
What would
Imagine-
what would your stonemasons do?
Well, because I'm a joiner, it would be joiners instead of stonemasons.
You
So
control the
you-
doors of the world.
And when we do modern doors,
Yeah, but do you do more than doors?
He
I
builds
know,
stairs on
you know how
occasion.
to make doors and stairs.
and windows.
Well, you see,
Windows are made of
George.
glass. How does a joiner make glass? How do you make
No,
glass?
we meant the frame.
Well, that's not a window, is it?
It was window frame.
Well, you didn't say that. You said a window.
It's
It
hard
was
to have a window.
implied.
You can't really have a window without a window frame.
Well, you can just have a hole in your wall that's filled with glass.
It's
We
not
need a frame to put the
Minecraft,
glass in.
dickhead.
Well, it's. You tell you what, that could be the next big thing. Glass holes in your house. Some
That's
might call
called a
them
window.
windows.
Those. They exist. Unless you're in my head, you're talking
Oh.
Minecraft, where it's like it's 1 meter by 1 meter cube of glass that you've just put in a fucking wall.
I mean, that'd be quite funny.
I want to see a house built to Minecraft dimensions. I just want to see that. Like,
Or 1 meter thick walls.
1 meter thick walls. Like every
Solid
room
as
is like
well.
every room has to be like 3 meters tall. The glass has to be 1 meter thick and translucent.
How
Yeah,
thick is the door?
And
It's
gotta
about-
be, well, it's
about
got
a
to be a
quarter.
meter long.
yeah, it's got to be 1 meter high. No, it's
2
2
Well, no,
meters.
2 meters high, a meter wide.
It's
it's quite
1 meter
thin
wide.
though.
Yeah, it's quite thin. I'd say it's like a quarter. So the
Yeah,
door
but
would
having a
work
door
fine.
that
A
big and
quarter
that
meter,
thin would be very
25
flimsy.
mil. Just about. A normal door is 44 to 54 mil.
Yeah, so it'd be about the same size as a regular door. To be fair,
No. A quarter of a meter is 250 mil.
that's quite big.
No,
That's quite
25
that's-
mil.
well. Also, it's got a
I didn't
flick.
pick up on that, dude. Yeah, how big is the hinge? The hinge is 0 meters because it just.
I'm sure we could have some leeway in that.
Yeah.
How big would a Minecraft step be? How many steps are there? 3? It'd be a third of a meter.
Is it free? Let me just have a look. I feel
There's
it's called Minecraft
that's
stairs.
300 mil ish.
Where
How
how
high
the
are steps normally? Do you
Okay,
know
this
time?
is the level of
Um,
tangent we're on, where I'm looking up the fucking Minecraft stairs
I mean,
texture.
it's not far off. I think it's about 200 mil normally.
A stairs is only 2 blocks. It's only 2 bits. It's only 2 steps.
Oh, so you've got half a meter steps.
Okay, so it's almost it's roughly double what a normal step is now.
Yeah, but you see, that's fine for me because I normally go up steps 2 steps at a time.
Yeah, same.
So that's
I
fine.
really enjoy running upstairs and doing it in like as few steps as possible. I do it
Did you
at
ever
work
used to
all the
slide
time.
down the rails at school?
Oh yeah, every time.
I did. I felt so cool when I go down super fast.
My friend,
I never fell off either.
I did. I was so
Nearly
like
did.
irresponsible as a child. You feel like you're invincible.
I feel like everyone is as a child. You don't
Yeah.
understand how to be responsible. You got to learn it.
What you do?
Yeah, that's fair.
Would you call yourself a responsible adult, Frank?
Would you call
I could.
yourself an adult? You feel like an
Firstly,
adult.
I feel like I am an adult. With where I currently work and all that, and sort of the way I'm sort of dealing with things in my life, I feel like I've become more responsible. But
Okay.
so Ben,
Yeah.
your cult is what? The joiners.
The joiners or the carpenters or the woodworkers.
Okay.
Every house
One
will
of
be
them.
made out of wood.
So they control all the
I mean,
doors and
that's just
stairs.
American houses.
Are all
Don't
American
they use
houses made of wood?
bricks?
A lot of American houses are made out of wood.
Man, Manhattan must take a lot of wood.
That's why they all just like get wiped out by tornadoes.
Are you saying wood is
Did they-
inferior for building?
Yes,
Why are
I
you
mean,
a
it's less
joiner
wood
then?
than
Why don't you
brick.
be a mason?
because not everything needs to be made out of wood. Certain things can, like furniture and doors, obviously.
Okay.
What if they'd made the pyramids out of wood?
So you just
It
want to
wouldn't be
make
there
your
today.
job into a cult. You enjoy your job that much that you want to
No, he's
do
just
it as a
dedicated that much
cult.
of his fucking time to it. Like, he's like, I gotta get some out of this. He wouldn't want to go into the fucking secret cult society and then be like, well, that fucking apprenticeship was
Not
a waste.
everyone who's in stonemasons now are stonemasons.
Wait, there's actually a cult called stonemasons.
Stonemasons are a real society.
Oh, it's
They-
not a
I
cult, it's a
think,
society.
I think my great granddad was in stonemasons.
So, fuck off.
It
No,
was either my
that's
great granddad or my great great granddad. Yeah, my granddad wanted to join, but they didn't let him in because you have to get invited in.
Why
what, like
didn't his dad invite him in?
I don't know if it was his dad or his granddad. I don't know. There's some reasons I can't remember why.
What happens when they're all
wasn't
dead?
willing to sacrifice the goat.
Well, you don't get invited, do you? You have to get recommended to join.
Ben, can I join the joiners?
I don't know, because you're doing a sex cult, aren't you? You're gonna be in one cult at a time.
Huh.
That's true. My
Yeah, but you
cult,
don't know about my sex cult. Rule 1 about sex
You
cult.
just said it's not secret though, didn't
rule 1 about sex cult, we don't talk about sex cult.
you?
I'm talking about it. Anyway,
Wait,
But
if
me and
that's
Frank
like-
can talk about it because we're not in it.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
enough cult talk for one day.
Yeah, we've talked about it for half an hour now.
Okay,
That's a lot.
right. So just to
So-
round up, I'm
sex
I'm
cultist.
a cult. Shh. Frank's Scientology.
Yeah, I'm just nicking Scientology. I'm just gonna file the names
Makes
off.
doors out of wood.
I am the woodworkers that
Yeah.
will control.
Ben's gonna
governments.
control the door industry. Which, to be fair, everyone needs doors. Like,
Yeah, what are you gonna do when there's no fire doors about? You're just gonna burn.
Why doors are made of wood, are they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are. I should
Just
know.
have to
I
be-
used to be.
I do know. That's like our main thing we produce at work.
how
fire
do
doors.
you
They're
make
not even
fire
made out of
doors
real wood. They're made from dust wood.
The ones that we make are made from chipboard. And they're
How-
54 mil thick.
But they're made of wood, and wood burn.
Yeah, but it's
No,
It's thick
that's the
enough
thing.
that
They'll
if-
wet the doors before they make them. Then
No.
wet wood doesn't.
Oh.
Well, what we also do as well on the door frame, we have intermittent strips, and when they get hot, they expand, and it stops the door from like falling
Oh,
off.
so if the room's hot, I can't escape and will burn to death. I understand.
Well, if it's closed.
Well, you're not supposed to have a fire door open unless there's a fire.
Oh no, because if you think like you're in like a big corridor and there's loads of fire doors, you know, like in school, there are those big doors in the corridors. Do you remember?
I don't
We didn't
remember
have that many. We had like one on each side and one in middle sometimes.
Yeah.
No,
and
there
all
was-
the
there was-
classrooms were fire doors as well.
Ben knew
And
this. Ben saw the doors and went, "That's a fire door." That's how he knew.
when there's a fire, they'll close. You can still open them and go through them. But
No, you're not allowed. If there's not a fire, you're not allowed to open it.
oh, well, they'll close and they'll block the.
Why are they
They'll
called
keep the
fire doors
children
when they're made
contained.
of wood, not fire?
God.
Why
Man,
are
I'd
they
be
called
quite
wood
impressed.
doors?
I'd be quite impressed, Ben, if you made a door entirely out of fire. I'm like, ooh, this is some fucking arcane secrets right here.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough cult talk. I'm cutting it off there.
Sweet.
No more talking about cults. Whose question's next?
I think it's Frank's.
Frank,
Oh,
what's
it's
your question?
mine, which is, let me just double
It's
check.
forgotten.
It
Come on, I
is
know this.
what
I just
is
checked it.
the ethics. So, how ethical do you think genetic modification is? And I don't mean GMO crops or food. I mean people.
What about animals?
We kind of already have genetically modified animals
Yeah, but what
Yeah.
if we strapped a cannon onto the back of a lion
for
Is that
any reason.
genetically modifying it?
to take over the world?
Like we've already genetically modified like every farm animal. We've just done it
Yeah,
through
what
breeding.
level-
And every
yeah.
crop that we use.
Yeah, like wheat is a freakish mutant of grass that we've just kind of force bred, which is kind of fucked up.
Bananas as well. We've forced them to be as they are.
Well, you know how like so
Want
bananas
to know
are
a
like
fun fact about bananas? You
Okay.
know the flavouring of bananas?
Yeah.
They doesn't really taste like bananas, really.
I
Do you know
think it does.
why? It's because
it-
the species that they use to make that flavouring.
the sweets, the banana sweets, yeah.
Yeah, the species they use to make that flavouring, it's gone extinct.
How do they
So-
make it if it's gone extinct?
So the
There's
flavorings
a-
based, yeah, the
yeah.
flavorings are replication.
Yeah, it was in like the 50s or something.
It's happened before.
We used to eat those kind of bananas, and so that's why they made the flavouring from it.
You know,
but
you
then
know
it
the
went
current
extinct.
you know the current banana, there's a disease fucking going through it, so there's a chance this current banana is going to go extinct. So we're going to have a new banana, which is wild, right? Do you know, and also a big part of the reason for this is because the farmers aren't allowing any genetic diversity of banana because like bananas have a big variety in taste. So if you start like letting your bananas not be massively incestuous and have a single fucking genetic code, they'll start tasting like quite varied, even probably in the same bunch, which they don't want because if every banana tasted different, you'd be like, wow, I don't like this banana or I like this banana.
It could be like Harry Potter's every flavour bean, but it's
Bananas.
every flavour banana. Yeah, that'll be quite cool. It's like magic, that.
I mean,
I'm
Yeah.
right.
I guess.
I mean, I don't know. Every banana I have tastes pretty much the same, apart
Yeah,
from
yeah,
when
because
it starts
Yeah.
bruising and it gets a bit sweeter.
Yeah, that's because all the bananas you'll have had are the same species of banana.
Well,
Yeah. Should we go back to genetics?
Sorry,
Let's talk about
we've gone
bananas.
onto this banana topic, and bananas are cool. I like.
I know
Did you know
our
if you ate?
genes are very related to bananas.
Did you know if you
but-
ate 40,000 bananas in a single sitting, the radiation would kill you?
why are bananas radioactive?
They are slightly radioactive because of the
Is
potassium.
that because I've got potassium?
Potassium.
Yeah.
But
I feel like if you hit 40,000
You know
bananas,
what?
though,
if ever,
someone would kill you first. It's the
imagine
fucking
being suicidal and thinking, this is how I'm going to end it. I buy
40
40,000 bananas. Today is a challenge, boys.
I feel like you'd die of other things before the potassium.
Is it the fact that you are eaten 40,000 bananas.
Yeah.
You've eaten more than your fucking body weight in
I
bananas.
think his stomach would just explode for that much inside
What
you.
if you just sit on the toilet and it just goes straight through you? Because they are quite.
I mean,
They do go through you
it
quite
does
fast.
take
Bananas.
time to pass through it, though.
Yeah, that's not how biology works.
Yeah.
But it's not my biology, but it's just a tube from mouth to anus.
Okay.
How do you think
If-
I never put weight on when I eat? It's because it just
If you
falls
think
through
about
me.
it, when two people kiss, they form a tube from one anus to another.
Is this human centipede?
Ah.
Think about that next time you kiss anyone. Just
Oh, when I put my ass against another person's ass, it forms a tube from mouth to mouth.
that's true. You can breathe in and then breathe out.
What the fuck? Is the human centipede genetic modification? I mean, it's,
No, that was just
No,
nah,
it's
it's
not
just
affecting the
stitching
genes.
people together. I've not seen that movie, but I've seen scenes from the movie.
I refuse to.
I think I've seen the second film.
Would you rather watch that or The Room?
I'd rather
Yes.
watch The Room.
I'd rather watch Human Centipede. I can't watch The Room a third time.
That doesn't. No. Right. So, assuming if you're having to genetically modify your child, if you're genetically modifying, of course it's happening in the womb, right?
Well,
Or
why can't I
you're-
just chop off someone's arm and replace it with a synthetic one?
That's not really genetic modification. That's prosthetics. That's replacements.
I mean, it's not
genetic
really-
mods have already kind of happened,
Ooh.
I think. Because you can
You
do
think?
it in IVF, I think. So
Would it be like
Did
Build
you-
a Bear, but it's Build a Baby?
That's the idea. So it's the idea of you
called
could
designer
theoretically,
babies.
yeah, designer babies. You can remove predilections towards certain genetic conditions.
What if you're just a
Um,
really bad person? You're like,
In a
I want
way,
my child to have hereditary diseases of all sorts. It's like, you know what? This child's going to have a bad life because I'm bitter.
I'm making my child come out and they've got no arms, no legs, and one eye. Like, why would you do
I
that?
feel like you'd get stopped at the designer baby shop.
Well,
And they'd be like, you fucking not. They
who's
turn
the
around.
judge on what you want your baby to be? Whatever you want your baby to be,
Well, that's
it's
what
your
the thing is.
baby, right? It's not like it's
'Cause-
another human life or anything.
Because one of the moral implications, especially amongst a lot of disabled communities, is the idea of these designer babies erasing who they are from existence, basically.
Yeah, I've seen people with
Yeah, but
dwarfism
equally,
complain about it.
Yeah,
if it
people
was
with
something like
dwarfism.
that, what's stopping the disabled people? I don't know if that's the correct term, but that's what I'm going with. What if they just have their designer babies be disabled like them because it's what they want? It's not going to stop them.
can
It
make
just gives other people the options to not have it,
You
which
could
means there'll be
make the-
less of them.
You can make the argument ethically that there's a difference between a child being born disabled and you forcibly making them disabled. I'd argue that's probably child abuse.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but they'll never
you are
know.
you are actively damaging their future. But for a lot of because I have deaf family, I kind of have an awareness of sort of at least the way the deaf community reacts. I don't know every disabled community, but I have an understanding of one disabled community, and from that I'm going to extrapolate out and take some broad strokes, which I know you're not really supposed to do, but that's how humans fucking ascribe things. But the idea is basically for a lot of these communities, their disability defines them. It's who they are. It's not seen as a flaw. It's seen as a bond between them. It's almost like a race thing, if you get me. Not exactly, but it's like that. You end up having with the deaf community, there's a lot of there's deaf community centers. They'll gather together. They have these conversations, and a lot of deaf people, especially, really don't like the cochlear implant. The one where it's got the it's a hearing
Like the
aid, but it
magnet,
yeah, the magnet thing.
Yeah.
And they make the argument of, oh, the kid isn't having the choice. You're doing this against the parent's will and stuff like that. But then the doctor will argue this is the only way to preserve the hearing, which is technically correct. If a child is born deaf, you have at best a year or two before their brain just won't be able to process those sounds anymore, because the brain's very good at, when it doesn't need something, it just fucks it off. It's like, oh, that doesn't work, I'm not going to waste processing power on it. Same way if you start going deaf at an older age, especially once you start hitting your 70s or anything like that, you start noticing you're having hearing issues. Getting a hearing test is quite important, because once your brain recognizes that it's lost those bits of hearing, it just stops being able to register them even if you get a hearing aid. Just because the brain's like, oh, I don't need that anymore. It's gone. Fuck it off from my processing. I need to be
Sorry, what was
efficient.
that?
If you lose your hearing as you get older, you take
I
didn't realise you made that joke.
You get it because he's talking about losing your hearing, and I'm pretending I
Yeah,
can't hear
yeah.
him. Oh,
I
I
hate
didn't
you.
realise you were doing that. You
I
do it
hate
all the time.
I hate you. There's such a burning fucking
I'm
passion.
such a serious.
I really hope you go on a little bit longer so I can do it a second time. But you go on.
Oh, I saw the fucking grin
I
on your
couldn't not
face, and
grin.
like I was having a fucking. I sounded like I knew what I was talking about there.
Yeah, you
But
did.
yeah, for a lot of disabled communities, it kind of is who they are, and they kind of embrace it. And this idea of it being a race, where it's
Right, sneezes.
Yeah, it's
Bless
sneezing.
you. Oof, you got a throaty cough going on.
Could this be COVID?
It could be.
I hope not. So, with the whole idea of genetically modifying your child, if it became commonplace, you are removing them from the world in a way, if you get me.
Yeah.
And
But
the argument is,
just because they've all learned to live with it and they're happy, does that mean you have to put other people through it?
that's the moral dilemma there. Like,
Because like, say like with dwarfism or stuff like that, there is health implications with
there is.
those disabilities. I know people with those disabilities learn to live with it and they're happy and they're fine with it.
Yeah.
But should you put a child through that? Because they've obviously had issues during their life by dealing with it. Should the child have to deal with all of that? Because it affects you mentally as well.
I just don't think we should fuck with it. It's a bit like gamifying life. It's like doing this predetermined. I'm going to min max my way through life, and it's like
in a way, it's already
you
happening.
just deal
now.
with what you get, right?
Because during pregnancy, you can run tests to see if the child is going to have anything like Down syndrome or certain heart diseases or something. And a lot of the times, people will abort that fetus.
Ooh, that's a bit fucked up.
Yeah, the majority of times where they found out it's going to be Down syndrome or something like that.
I can understand that from some point, because having a child is a two-way system. It's raising a child, which is the person you're raising, but it's also the person's got to dedicate 18 years of their life at least to raising that child.
There's more than 18 years.
Well, 18 years of support, and then you'd be supporting them for the rest of your life. You
do that anyway with your kids, but this is even more so. It takes up a lot more of your life.
It's difficult because I can understand that caring for a disabled child is a lot harder. Like, I know, genetically speaking, I'm very likely to have a deaf kid. Well, not very likely, but if I've got recessive deaf genes, basically.
Yeah, so it depends if your partner will have the recessive gene as well.
Yeah, like if I end up
if you mingled with a deaf girl, then
I think I've got the sickle cell gene.
Sickle cell?
Because my cousin's got sickle cell disease. So chances are I've got it as well, the recessive gene.
If that happened and I had a deaf kid, I know that would be that would be harder, especially if both me and the mother were hearing. That would be weird. Well, it wouldn't be weird because I was raised by two deaf people. I think I've come out all right.
Yeah,
it's basically the same situation. But I know it would be I know
think-
it would be harder than raising a hearing kid.
Yeah,
There'd be
but
different
I think
challenges.
if a deaf child would be different to Down syndrome.
Oh yeah, yeah,
child.
it's completely different. It's completely different. But I'm taking the sort of the idea of raising because I feel like if I was told that my kid was going to be deaf, I wouldn't. I'd be like, yeah, sure, that's completely fine. But if I was told my kid, I feel I I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't get the final say on an abortion anyway. Actually,
Well,
You
yeah.
must get this baby aborted.
like
But
wait,
if you're doing design,
Have you not seen
fucking-
that
I don't-
advert where they've got
I
like
don't have
the
to worry.
abortion spray?
This isn't my decision.
but what about if you're doing a designer baby with your partner, like you're off to the shop, you have
Oh,
to
from
pick
the
out.
shop. Well, if the shop has been established, then I'm assuming morally I'm fine in this regard. I get to pick
Okay,
whatever
so
I want.
if someone does one thing and it's an established thing, it's okay for you to then do it.
If someone has set up a shop where you go to build a baby, like it's Build a Bear, I'm assuming it's in the White Rose for some reason. Like, you go to
Is
White
there a
Rose
Build a
shopping
Bear in the
centre.
White
Leeds, by the way.
You just go to White Rose shopping centre, right? You're like, all right, let's go to Build a Baby. And you're just like, let's pick out things. I'm like, let's give it blue hair. Let's give it green eyes. Let's make him more genetically
Make his
predisposed.
skin glow.
Fuck it, yeah, make him glow in the dark so we don't lose him.
We've already done that to fish. We made some fish glow in the dark. You can buy
Why would anyone want to glow in the dark?
Because that way, what if I can't find my kid? Right, it's dark. Where it's fine.
Imagine how
little-
cool you'll be out with.
Little Frank's over there.
Imagine
over
how
there.
insecure you'd be because you're glowing in the dark.
Yeah, but everyone else is going to have these like wacky things.
I feel like if everyone in the world starts glowing in the dark, there might be some problems genetically.
Imagine the light pollution.
I feel like that'll lead a lot. Yeah, that's
Never
the
see
problem
stars
here.
again.
Oh my god, that's so sad. But like,
yeah. But what about if we
I-
just move diseases like HIV and cancer? Because that's something that
see,
they can do.
that's something that is. I think there's no moral implication with that.
Yeah,
there's
because
no-
who wants HIV?
Yeah, there's no moral implication with diseases and stuff like that. But stuff like
It's where you
genetic,
draw the line at diseases.
yeah, because people with Down syndromes can have fulfilling lives.
I saw TikTok the other day where this Down syndrome guy is a like really good scaffolder now.
Yeah, like
Real great.
they just need the accommodation. They just need that support, and then they're fine. Like, it's I think more of a fault of the system not being willing to support these people rather than
I think it's because the way I've always thought about it, it's not like they're inferior or anything. It's a different way of thinking, and because
yeah,
our society is formed around one way of thinking, it doesn't cater to them.
Yeah.
So they're just left behind, or they need to do a lot of catching up to start thinking the way that other people do.
Yeah.
Just because they've been put at this disadvantage at the start.
What's the Einstein quote? If you measure a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll always think itself inferior. Because the idea is if you it was based around the idea of testing children. So if you test every child in if you just focus into the STEM subjects, which is science, tech, I don't know what the E is in mathematics, then a lot of kids.
English.
Yeah. It's those like
Those are
Probably.
very English.
it'll be one of those.
How
Those
good.
seen as more like intelligent subjects, whereas someone going into the arts or into the humanities generally isn't. They're not.
Science, technology, engineering, and maths.
Yeah, so they're stuff like. So they're always seen as the
I'd say
smart.
they're more logical, whereas the others
Yeah.
are more. I
But
wouldn't know
that's
how to
But even
one
then,
way
describe
people
even,
these.
look at.
even then, they're a different kind of logic because everything's basically logic.
I don't know. When I think of logic, I think of a systematic way of doing it, which you have with maths and things like that. Because you've got defined answers. With things like humanity and everything like that, you don't have defined answers. It's more about
but you
discovering answers.
You still get to those answers via a logic system.
Yeah,
Humans
but not
are.
everyone has the same answer. But you can't argue that 2 + 2 isn't 4.
Yeah, I can't argue that. I was trying to think.
You can't argue that. But with other subjects, say say in English when you're reading a book, people have different interpretations of the book.
Oh man, I'm
So
not gonna
people have
lie.
different answers to it. It's not a definitive answer.
I fucking hated doing English language and English lit because there was never
Same.
like people were like, "Oh, there is no definitive answer," apart from yours, because yours is wrong. Yours is definitively wrong, Frank. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Fuck you!"
That's why I
It's-
like maths.
Do you know why it's red? Why is Curly's wife's dress red? Because it's fucking red. It was
Danger. It's
danger
danger.
and
Stay away
passion.
from this woman.
My
She'll get you
favourite bit-
killed.
My favorite bit in fucking Of Mice and Men
I
was
liked
when
the Vaseline glove and how it hinted to him pleasing Curly's wife.
yes,
Haha.
my favorite thing about the Vaseline glove was it implied that he fingered, and I'm like, wow, I did not need to know that.
I want you to put as much detail into your D&D writing, Frank.
Okay,
You notice the barkeep is wearing a Vaseline glove. You see his wife wearing a green dress.
ooh, what does that mean?
Go, quick, get in there, boys.
Just envious.
Of like,
The Vaseline glove isn't for her.
I fucking
Plot
hated
twist.
him. I fucking hated Of Mice and Men. I feel like whenever I got given a book to read in English, I was immediately like, I don't care. I don't.
I
like this
remember in Of Mice and Men where it said where it said the N word, and someone was reading out in class, and then they'd say the N word, and everyone was like,
Yeah,
Is
this
that's
idiot?
what I
"Is this
Did
okay?"
they say the N word in Of
My
Mice and Men?
teacher, they were like, "We're all adults. We're not using it in a bad way. We're just gonna say it." So we just used the N word. Which, you know what, it was kind of refreshing. We had a black
was
person in our class, and they didn't make a fuss about it or anything. We just sort of all got along. Yeah, you know the black person because one of the
She-
only
she's
two.
one.
She was the
There's two.
only
She was the only one in
black
our
person
year.
in our. I'm pretty certain there was 2 black people in our entire school.
And it was her brother.
Was they a brother? I didn't even fucking know
In
that.
the year below, yeah.
Man, we were diverse.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Fucking-
I just remember that. I remember it. Were weird, but kind of
But-
refreshing. No one
because
giving a
it-
shit about people saying that word.
It was because it's the context of this. It's the context of
Yeah.
everything depends on context. All that matters in a word is its context. Really, well, it's not all that matters, but yeah. But yeah, to bring back to the ethics of genetic modification, I feel like when you're starting removing predilections towards certain diseases, making a child more less likely to suffer from, say,
HIV,
about
cancer, heart
HIV?
disease.
How about making them more resistant to things like cold symptoms?
Oh, you can
Yeah,
make them a dwarf and give
exactly.
them resistance to poison.
Yeah, do I give them trance? Do I give them elf trance?
I'm going to give them fire breath.
So
What
this
if-
is what all the D&D couples are going to do. What do you think's going to happen when the furry couples are going to do this? They're going to
Oh
start
my
giving
God.
cat ears and tails to everyone.
My daughter's gonna have a raccoon tail.
You snuffy fanboy.
Hey, you know what the worst thing is? The reason a raccoon came to bed is because of the VTuber snuffing.
Yeah.
She keeps on popping up on my YouTube and it just doesn't go away. And you know
Well,
what? I keep on clicking on the videos, which is
that's
probably
why
why
I
it
keep.
doesn't go away.
Yeah, that's how the algorithm works, dickhead. I know this.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat.
Yes, I don't think we should do genetic mods.
I would make my
it's
daughter
gonna-
just a VTuber.
furries.
Just comes out as a VTuber avatar.
I feel like there's. I don't. I feel like there'd be a lot of unforeseen consequences because
It's just once you start allowing some things, at some point they're going to start talking about
What?
other things, and it's just going to lead to designer babies.
What happens when you
it'll
have this extremist group that makes it so, say they got in power or something, and then it's like, yeah, we're putting a ban on making black or Asian or white babies. You can only make this type of baby now.
see that's the thing.
That's
Like if
what
you,
would
if you,
happen.
eventually you'd have laws being passed on.
At some point, North Korea is going to figure it out,
But
and then make
why
super
North
soldiers.
Korea? What?
Well, again, that's another thing.
That's
Like,
what they do.
like, what if, like, morally speaking, if you had the chance, right, to give your child a bodily predilection to having the capabilities of an athlete, if you gave me that choice, I feel like I'd have to do it. You know, I'd be giving
Yeah,
my
but
child
then
a better chance.
when your child's naughty, you can't catch up to them and they run away from you.
But then at some point, every child's going to be like that, and then It's just gonna be the norm.
Then what happens to the normal people that are now the minority and
Well,
getting discriminated against?
they've all gone by then.
Like,
Because
what if?
What
every
about the
human's been
boomers
bred
that?
to be like that.
What about the boomers that didn't get
I'm
genetically
sure
bred?
by the time designer babies come,
Yeah, but they'd be
the
ever
boomers are gonna be
evolving,
dead.
wouldn't they? It'd be like this generation has this new trend. They have one less ear than normal.
Yeah.
Well, I'd argue it just come into
They only have
like,
5 this year.
it'd be. I feel like step one would probably be expanding lifespans. That's probably what they go to first.
Do you know,
That should
you know
just be what it
saying
is.
that?
Isn't it? People live long. Yeah, then again, there's a lot of problems with making people live longer.
Exactly,
What happens with,
it's-
people on Earth? There's too many of them.
yeah,
Well,
but
I
the
think
thing
if
is
people
that
start living longer, they'll start having less babies.
Well, you'd
That's
have to
true.
put a
That's
restriction
how
on
it
it, else we'd
works in
wipe ourselves
developed
out.
countries.
well, we don't really. It's weird with the sort of the concept of a developed nation.
Well, the
Because we
more
don't-
developed a country becomes, the less babies they have. Take like Germany, for instance. They're very developed. They've got an elder population. And
Yes.
not having any like young people really.
However, we've only seen that in Western societies currently. We don't have a control group. We don't have two
It's
sort of.
same in Japan,
Yeah, the
very...
same thing in Japan, isn't it?
Yeah, same in Japan. They're a very old. I think Japan has the oldest population
Is
in
it-
the world.
They're very
Ra-
developed.
I know China's having an
racially.
issue with it. That's primarily due to the
Ratio,
one-child policy.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
But they've
oh, no,
also got an
you're right,
issue
Japan.
with like having a majority males. But that's because of one-child policy.
Yeah,
So that's probably why they're having less babies as well, because everyone's male there.
they can't have the designer babies.
I like how China just goes like, oh, there's a one-child policy. Oh, we're going to change it to a 2-child policy because we're running out of people.
Yeah.
Well, like,
Who didn't see that coming?
I like how they didn't realize. Wait, if we have every 2 people, right, only having 1 kid, we've just halved our population.
Yes.
How did they
Well,
not work that out?
Oh, they wanted that, didn't they?
They were like, "Fuck it, just cut it in half." What?
Yeah.
Are you insane?
If you think about it, if there's half as many people on the planet, then you can earn twice the amount of space that you normally do.
That was Thanos' concept.
You know what? I don't necessarily disagree.
Okay, you know the funny thing about Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet? He was like, if I halve the people,
Are you
they will
going to
have
say,
double
oh,
the
you can just
resources."
double the resources?
Yes, he could just keep doing that. He could snap it, double the resources, and then do it again, and then
Yeah.
do it again.
Yeah, but
Because it's just after half the population every now and again, isn't it?
Like, and then he destroyed the stones. He did it once and destroyed the stones. Thanos, do you not know how population growth works?
yeah, but he saved it for many, many years.
Yeah,
But
what's
then he
going to happen when it comes around again?
Oh well, you got to find another solution. You got to travel back in time to before the stones were destroyed, and then do it again.
Did you know? Well, I'm beginning to think Thanos, the character known as the Mad Titan, might
He's
not be
pretty mad.
entirely safe. But again, if someone turned to you and said, "I can give your child the best chance at life. They'll be healthy. They'll live longer. They'll
What's
be
the catch?
smarter."
Well,
You'd
you'd
that's
have to
What's
take
the
it because you
catch?
know
No,
this
there's a
option would
catch.
be up to everyone else.
Yeah, I feel like I'd have to take it because
I'd say just leave my child alone. They are what they are.
If everyone else is getting that option, then your child is gonna.
your child is at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
And
well-
I'd feel like if I'm not giving my child every chance, then. But of course,
If
as
everyone
well,
becomes amazing, then everyone's the same.
but also the
And
thing
then
would
my
be
child that's not amazing is the unique one, and they become a celebrity superstar.
they're
with a
the
unique
bullied one.
and also poor,
And gonna get bullied even more.
and they're also gonna have a disease at some point. They're gonna get a cold, and everyone else is gonna be like, "What's a cold?"
But you know what? They'll be happy.
Will they?
Yes,
Is that guaranteed?
because they're different, and everyone knows if you're different, you're happy.
That's not how that works.
That's why I'm so
quite-
sad. It's because I'm the same as everyone.
You
Okay.
know me.
I am a gamer. The most densely populated community in the world.
The most dense community in the world.
You know what? I agree. Oh,
Fucking gamers, man.
God.
God, I
I
hate
don't
them.
wanna. I don't want. I've had so many toxic gamers this week. Oh,
Shall we wrap up this question then?
So what is each of your opinions on?
I don't think we should be fucking with it.
Not at all. Not even
Yeah.
say, the removal of some diseases, such as...
No,
What about sickle cell? What if you could just remove sickle cell from the gene pool?
it's natural, isn't it? It's what happens. It's
So it's
nature.
like AIDS.
Yeah, it's nature. It happens.
Are you implying that we shouldn't cure any disease then? So you
Should we
shouldn't
just get
take a
rid of
parasite.
medicine? Let's get rid of NHS. We don't need it.
See,
It's
that's
not
the thing.
natural.
What this
Don't
is
mention that in front of Frank.
the idea is
That's what you're saying now.
the idea is it's preventative as opposed to treating the symptoms.
It's a really in-depth question. I don't know, guys. There's
It's
too
just
much
too much for
data
you
in
right
my
now.
brain right now. I don't know what to say. It's like
Are you feeling confused?
it's because we've grown up in this world where these diseases exist. So
Yeah.
we're used to these
Yeah.
diseases exist. We don't understand a world without these diseases. So you sure you want to fuck with that? It's putting yourself in an entirely new
We
world.
understand what a world is like without the Black Death, and we know that's great.
Yeah,
I've
but
never had cholera.
I've never had AIDS or HIV, and it's pretty great.
I wouldn't know. Never had. As a man with AIDS, I don't have AIDS.
you know, I hate it because you make a lot of sense, but I don't want to agree with it.
But that's the thing.
Okay.
I
It's one of the
feel like
things where
there's too much we don't know about it to be fucking with it. I feel like it's something that needs to be tested, but then you're testing it on human beings,
Yeah,
and that's a
there's
bit
no-
fucked up.
Well, certainly, you can test it on animals, how they have been
And
doing.
that's not fucked up.
The thing is, though, the closest you get
Mm,
to
these
human.
animals are
sentient. Let's fuck with their genetics.
I mean,
Or we've done it to like chickens and cows and shit to make them more food.
you know what's fucked up, right? Like, as I keep looking into this, animals are really sentient. Like, they really are. They have, like, feelings, and I feel
Yeah.
kind of bad. Like, every time... Do you know chickens make friends?
Oh my god, they're superior
Yeah.
to me. They know how to make friends.
You know cows have a concept of a best friend?
Yeah.
And they have, like, friends and enemies. Cows have a social
Enemies.
structure. Like, cows will get pissed at other cows over shit. It's insane. But do you know what that means? It means when a cow gets taken away, the other cows miss them. That's fucked! What the fuck? I'm still gonna eat beef, but, like, I'm gonna feel bad about it when I
Nah,
think.
let's become
Think
vegans,
about how
guys.
sheep feel when we take the lambs away and cook them for roast.
I think it's
don't
really
eat lamb.
cool that sheeps can tell if the baby lamb is theirs or not.
Yeah, they can. They could just be like, "Oh, that's not mine."
It's because I know it's because of Clarkson's farm, but basically the liquids that come out of them when they give birth are covered in the baby, and because they recognise their own liquids, they can identify
can
that it's
smell.
their child, and then they just memorize it, which is really cool.
Which is
Because I
adorable.
don't feel like humans can do that. I feel like when a human gives birth, if you give them a child that's the same color as them, has the same hair color, eyes, go on. So if I'd be like, "Here's your baby," we'd be like, "It's my baby." But
Well,
yeah,
also humans are kind of like, because of the way our like brains function, we are much more likely to be willing to take care of someone else's kid. Like, because of
yeah,
because of
sheep
our
only
sort-
has 2 nipples for them to feed on. So if they have 3 babies, they're a bit
because
fucked.
as sort of as we're humans are very much a social creature. Like, we can't survive without interaction. If you're on your own, if a human being
I
was
feel like
truly
I could
isolated,
survive with that. If I was, oh,
if you genuinely went like a year without any social interaction, without
Yeah,
speaking
but-
to anyone, you would go mad.
yeah, but Frank, you don't understand how I have imaginary friends. When people aren't there, I talk to people that I think are
Okay,
there.
you've already gone mad. Okay.
I've done that my entire life.
So you went mad at a young age. Understood.
When I'm home alone, I genuinely just talk to
What
blank
are they
space.
called? What's
They
their names?
change. They don't have names, but they've got faces. I can tell you what they look like, but I've never named
Oh
them.
God, what the fuck?
George,
You can see someone in the mirror now.
This is
George,
something I've done my
George, have
entire
you been
life.
taking your
It's normal. for
schizophrenia
me.
medication?
It's something I've done ever since, as long as I can remember. Just talk to faces.
Sorry, that reminded. I saw a meme
It's
the other
it's
day.
almost just like talking to yourself, but I have conversations with myself, and I get to a conclusion by debating things with myself. But the other self is an imaginary thing,
Do you
person.
talk out loud or in your head?
Out loud. Unless
This
I'm on my
guy-
own, unless I'm with
Okay.
people.
That's
But I don't
weird.
tend to do it when I'm with people because I'm talking to people.
That's
I don't think that's
Okay.
weird. I think it's just a way of processing information.
okay. Okay, let's move on from that.
I think the weird part is that they've got faces.
That's the weird part. That's the
I've
bit
got
that
a-
made me
I've got a
unsettled.
very
George has
visu-
seen
I've got a
George
very
has seen
visual
faces
memory,
at the
so I
point.
need to put a face to what I'm talking to. Else I'm just talking to nothing, and that's weird.
Okay, let's back the question up.
Fucking, where even were we?
Genetic modification. I
Okay.
don't. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I just don't want to fuck with it. But that's just because I don't know anything about it. I'm not gonna fuck with it because I don't know.
It's just in my head, like, if we can make the future of humanity better, is it ethical to not do it? Is it ethical to not give your child the best possible opportunity? That's
Maybe.
the bit that gets
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
What makes you think
Maybe-
your
maybe this is
child
what you
deserves
need.
the best?
They're my kid.
What makes
What's
your
the
child
next
better than
step?
someone else's child?
Nothing, but I'm assuming every other parent's going to give their kid the best opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're just joining the bandwagon and doing what everyone else does. You don't want to be hip and cool and the new
What,
thing.
taking care of my child, George? Yeah.
There's other ways to take care of your child. Have you ever seen 300?
Or just boot them off a cliff.
Or Tekken? That's how
Oh.
you raise a child. Anyway, we're wrapping up this question because I don't know what to talk about on it anymore, and I feel like we're going
Okay.
in circles.
I think it
So
definitely
Ben-
is looking into. I think it'd definitely be good to do like HIV or cancers, shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's a
But-
slippery
What
slope.
giving people it?
Yeah,
It's
sure,
where
I'll
do we
give
draw the
people-
line? Where is the ethical line to be
Yeah.
drawn?
And
Okay.
maybe ethics will change in the future. It probably will
That's-
do. That's how
yeah. Ethics
culture
changes over
advances.
time.
What happens when you cure a disease and then another disease comes around?
Well, then you
yeah, that-
cure that one.
Yeah.
It's just an
That's how it
endless cycle.
works.
What's the point
That's
if
how
you
it
don't ever
always
get
will work.
anywhere?
Well, what's the point? We might as well just
in life, guys?
fuck it, just sterilize everyone then, George, if that's what you want.
If humanity got wiped out, you know what? Humanity would have no more problems.
That's like what suicidal people say about themselves. You can't say that.
So in this episode, we established that I talk to faces in my head.
And
it's
you want
something
to
just
wipe
kill
out
themselves.
humanity?
Anyway, I think we should move on to the next question.
What, because we've realised you're insane?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not insane,
Ben.
I'm just
And
different.
my question now. So, what's your opinion on giving like young kids access to the internet? So, you know, like giving like 2-year-olds iPads, shit like that.
I think the internet's great, but the problem is a lot of people on the internet aren't so great and do very malicious things that children can consume.
A 2-year-old?
Do you remember the internet when we were growing up? Like when the internet was just well, not just starting,
Yeah.
but when it became mainstream? Because there were a lot of fucked up shit I've seen on the internet.
Yeah,
have you,
there's a
have you
lot of...
ever heard of the Gauntlet? I don't know if it's something that's still on the internet.
Oh, shit!
Yeah.
You mean like the list of videos to watch that are all gross?
Yeah, where it's 20 videos back to back, and they're all.
I never did it.
People were watching it at school once.
That's how I got into it because everyone was like, "Oh, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch. Oh, you've not run the Gauntlet."
Yeah,
And
I
I watched it.
didn't
And
watch
like,
it,
I feel like I've just a
I've
part of me's
seen
died
One Man,
inside.
One Jar.
Yes,
I never watched One Man, One Jar because I've seen Two Girls, One Cup. Like I was
That's
like,
nothing on
This is
One Man, One
worse.
Jar.
Yeah.
Oh,
like I could watch Two Girls, One Cup, and I was like, okay, this is it's
just
gross.
eating ice
Do you
cream
want to crush a glass jar with your anus?
Like
and then scoop the
I
bits
just-
out of your bleeding anus. It's very graphic.
like why would I watch that?
There was one where a guy was chopping his cock.
Why would I watch that? I don't know, but I did watch it.
off.
This is what I mean. Especially when you're a kid and you've got access to all these things that you know you shouldn't watch. For some reason, you just watch it. And you don't know why. You just do. It just sort of happens. And then you're like, I can't erase that from my memory.
Yeah, you don't watch it on your own, though. You watch it with like other people around you.
Well, I watched it on my own.
Well,
Honestly,
I didn't. Go on, Frank.
no. Secondly, oh Jesus Christ, I think the fact that 2-year-olds and stuff are getting iPads is less a internet issue and more a. I don't want to shit talk parents because parents have a hard time.
I mean,
But if
it is the parents' fault, though.
if you're letting your kid have unsupervised access to the internet without setting up some form of parental lock, you're the one that's being irresponsible. You're the idiot.
Oh, there's oh.
Yeah, it's like all those parents where they catch the child watching a YouTube video and then they complain at the creator for using
like-
bad language. It's
And
like,
it's like the
control what they're watching.
why don't you just set it so my favorite it's the video game argument again. My favorite is when parents were like, "Oh, you should ban Grand Theft Auto because my child is playing it." And I'm like, "Who bought them that game?"
It's an 18.
I don't
This-
understand this, but my mum used to let me watch my brother play Assassin's Creed, but I wasn't allowed to play Assassin's Creed.
It's
That doesn't
wild.
make sense to me, but that was something I used to wait for my brother to come home from school so I could watch him play Assassin's Creed.
It's just such a weird concept. Like, I feel like you just need to set parents. I know for a lot of people it's difficult, just because a lot of parents might not understand the technology that the kids have access to. Because
Yeah.
the kids often these days have a far better understanding of the tech that's in front of them than the parent does.
Well, do you think our generation would be better parents then? Because we do understand it.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
necessarily say
and with parents, there'll be new things that we don't understand.
I wouldn't say
But do you not
better
think-
parents, but we'd be
do you not think
better
our
adapting
generation-
to.
Do you not think our generation is better at understanding technology, though?
I feel like
Yeah,
we.
but there'll be new technology when we're on the next generation. But
That's
we won't
true.
be as good at understanding it. Technology is constantly changing. Do you
Yeah.
remember
I feel like
TVs
when-
when you were born? Well, not when
That's-
you were born, but like when you were growing up.
Yeah.
I remember when there was
One
5
way.
channels.
on it.
I remember when there was
I
5
remember
channels.
having to move the aerial every now and then because it kept on losing signal.
Do you remember fucking videotapes?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember. I've still
VHS.
got some VHS.
VHS.
Yeah, I used to have a binary
I
dinosaur
can't-
on VHS.
Do you
I've
know
got
what?
all
I had,
time.
I
The
had
Lion
every
King.
single Thunderbirds episode on VHS, and I would watch them all continuously on the TV. And my dad was like, "Can I watch the TV?" And I'm like, "I'm watching Thunderbirds."
Remember when DVDs were a thing?
DVDs are a
It's
thing.
still, even
Yeah,
with
but who watches
games, if I
DVDs
get a game
anymore?
on console, I buy it on disc because I just
Whenever
it's
I buy
what
a
I grew
console
up
game,
with.
I'm buying it on disc.
like.
I like just having the
Well,
disc.
It takes up less hard drive space when you get a disc as well.
I just
Also,
like
Any reason why I
having it.
do it.
Also, I feel like a lot of the time, people are like, "Oh, I watched this thing on Blu-ray," and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. When I'm watching something on Blu-ray and I'm watching something on DVD, I can't tell the difference.
You can if it's anime.
It depends on the TV as well.
That's true. Like, if something's like,
It's like having just a HD TV and then you put like a 4K DVD on. It's like, oh,
George, do
can't
you
tell
remember
it's
we went to-
4K.
do you remember we went to the convention and I went to go pick up a thing, and the guy was like, "There's no point getting that in Blu-ray because it wasn't recorded in Blu-ray," and I was like, "Oh," and then he went on a long fucking spiel at me about different eras of anime, and if you're getting an anime before this certain point, there's no point getting it on Blu-ray because
I
the
do remember
image
that.
quality doesn't matter. And I'm like, I get it, but
Do
also,
you remember when
just
someone
wanted to
bought
space
a?
Sunday.
Do you remember when someone bought a PlayStation 1? We plugged it in at the hotel and it was all in black and white.
Oh, I was just like, wait, it was the PlayStation 1 in black and white? Man, that was from ancient times.
Was it the PS1 or the TV?
It was the
I
TV.
think it was the
I
TV,
can
but
see.
that was funny. When he turned it on, it was just in black and white, and we're like, oh, you bought a PS2, what PS1 that only plays games in black and white?
It was great. It was great watching him play Star Wars Battlefront in black and white. It felt like I was watching a World War
On a
One
PS1,
movie.
it was PS2, PS2, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, funny,
Oh,
funny.
it was fucking great. I remember the look on his face of like, I hope this isn't what this is.
Almost as funny as folding out the sofa bed. Oh, Ben, you should have been there.
Oh, the hotel we hired said it had 6 beds. We found 4,
It
We're
had
like,
a bunk bed, a double bed,
and then
a sofa.
and the sofa folded out into what was apparently a double bed. And I looked
It
at
was
it.
about a
you know who
meter
had to-
long.
Do you know who had to sleep in the double bed for both nights? Me.
You did do. Oh, yeah, you did both.
It
Didn't
was
you?
me both nights.
I got the double bed both nights.
Yeah, but don't worry, we filled the double bed with fucking toast crumbs, so that's.
I could not tell. I was very drunk and filled with toast. Ben, you should have been there. Anyway, back to the question.
Yeah.
So I feel like for a lot of the time it's those parental controls, and the problem with YouTube especially is even with parental controls, a lot of the content is.
Yeah, but when you're uploading the YouTube
There is a
video, all
kids
you've got to
section
do
now.
is not press that "not made for kids" button,
Yeah,
Yeah, but
and then
they
it's
can
checked.
still
But
find it.
it's weird because especially because there's some content that could be hidden in there, like it's just weird. Like, but there's other streaming services. Just get like a Netflix up, chuck
Yeah.
like.
what happens when they find pornography?
Well, that's the
When did
parents'
you
fault. They
find-
should be keeping an eye on it.
When did you first find porn?
When I was 11.
I was in,
I think I was.
I think I was in year 6.
Yeah, I think so. That was all.
So, like,
Year 6, year 7 is every like sort of the
yeah,
standard.
I think like year 5, year 6.
I
for
were in
me.
high school, so it was in year 7 for me.
That's weird. I don't like that. I don't like the idea that 12-year-olds are.
We weren't even
It's weird
12,
to
we were
think
like
about,
10.
isn't it?
No. Ew.
And that's in our generation. Think about the
No,
Zoomers these
my
days.
child is not allowed to have sexual thoughts until they are 18. They are not allowed that.
It used to be that you like fell on a rock and got a funny feeling. Now it's you discover pornography.
It used to be that you'd find a Playboy in the woods.
Ugh, Playboy in the Wood. Do you remember when I mean, they still do it, but do you remember magazines that had pornography on them?
I remember
Oh,
seeing him at newsagents on the
Do you
top
remember the
shelf.
Sun?
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
remember the
page
s-
3.
Yeah. I remember getting on the school bus. I feel like I've told this story before. I would get on the school bus, right? So I'd be sat up at the back, and there was a guy who there was like a fucking 60-year-old man who, for the entire journey, was on page 3. He was just looking at these titties, and this is like a 20-minute bus journey. He's just sat there looking at some titties for 20 minutes, and that's when I got on the bus to when I got off, and he got on and got off.
oh, you got off, did you?
No,
God.
just there, like,
Yeah. But you know, like in primary school, when you have to put newspaper on the table when you're doing art for like pen,
yeah.
go on page 3. Oh, oh, got it.
What?
Yeah. Or it's a hiding from teacher.
What? So you all were like, yeah, we got some titties.
Yeah.
You know what? I remember that. I remember that.
Like,
Fucking weirdos.
so it's just, I feel
Get on
like
with your collage.
I'd set up
No,
a.
this was in primary school for me.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
It happened in
Well,
high
I think,
school as well.
yeah, I think it happened in high school.
I feel like what I'd. As long as you set parental controls up, like.
What happens when
should
the
be
kid
fine.
discovers how to remove the parental controls?
You
Not
can
hard
set
to
it up.
I mean, I
You
did.
could set it. You could set it up through the Wi-Fi itself.
I
Rather
mean,
than
now you
on
can
the
have like
device.
passwords and pins to remove it.
But I think parents should just be more aware anyway and just keep an eye on it. You don't just want
Yeah.
to leave it up to the device.
Yeah, just every once in a while, check the fucking browser history. Not sorry, not
Yeah.
the browser history. You want to check it from the fucking.
you want some new porn to watch? Let's see what my kid's been watching.
Well, no, because like I'm not going to look at the exact names, but if I see them on like Pornhub, I'll be like, all right, we're not looking
No,
at that.
you see a name that you recognise, and you're like,
And I'm
my
like,
son
"You
is a
son
cultured
of
individual.
Christ." Just walk past him in the kitchen and sign at him and leave.
She made videos when I was a teen.
Wait, no, because then wait, it wouldn't be
Videos
the
that
same.
exist now would still exist.
Oh, okay. No, because in my
Yeah.
head I'm like, oh,
It
does
all
that mean
gets
my son's
archived.
into MILFs?
I mean, you can watch stuff from the 80s.
I don't think
No.
I've ever really watched porn that old. I like my
You
image
can watch
quality.
other things other than porn. Let's not just talk about porn,
Yeah.
guys.
What about
Well,
social
assuming-
media? They get access to social media as well.
Oh,
And that's
God, if
bad at a young age.
if my kid went on fucking Twitter and started
You
following
say
and
Twitter, what about like 4chan?
Oh
if
no.
my kid went on 4chan, I'd be like,
What
what
if
the
your kid's a
fuck?
Redditor?
Oh God, I have no son.
You see him on the incels.
What if you
Slash
learn
incels.
that your child is a Discord mod?
Oh, God.
If my child's not allowed
We're in a
Discord until they're
Fortnite
18,
server.
Yeah, Discord's a wild place.
man, I've seen some weird servers. I'm currently in a Ben 10 role playing server. I don't know why.
Sorry.
I found one. I was like, this can't be real. So I just sit here and kind of just watch people role play. I'm like, what's going on here? Why? And
Do
there's
the role play the
stronghold.
different aliens?
They like role play their own OCs. It's quite weird to watch.
Oh,
Like,
well, you'd be
Ben
like, oh, Ben
Us.
10.
well, basically they're all like characters they've made up, and there's like rules on how overpowered you're allowed to be. It's just weird to watch. Like
Is it just Ben 10 D&D?
yeah, but there's no dice rolls or anything like that. It's play by post, which is kind of an old forum thing. But
Okay.
it's just like it's just interesting to watch because I'm like, these I don't get it. I don't get it. Ah, but that's one of the things. Like, there's stuff that we won't get when we're adults. Well, we are adults, but you know what I mean. Like
Going on an
proper.
SCP containment
Yeah.
breach server and
I mean,
talking to someone.
Oh God, if my
I've had some strange
God,
conversations
when
on
my
that
kids
game.
playing video games online. I remember
Imagine
Xbox.
that guy in Valorant that's really
Yeah.
toxic screaming at your kid.
Imagine me screaming at someone's child in Valorant.
Imagine not knowing your kid's gamer tag, screaming at them, and then your kid's like, sorry.
Sorry, Dad. You know what? If my kid's in my Valorant team and isn't pulling their fucking weight, if my son isn't out
It doesn't take a lot to outdo you in Valorant.
exactly. So I want my son to be better.
You just have to be born to be better than you.
But they were playing Valorant. They were playing the equivalent of Fortnite.
Oh,
My
no.
son will
You
not
know
be
what?
playing Fortnite.
First thing that's getting banned on the internet is Fortnite. They're not
Do you think
touching it.
Fortnite's going to be around when we have kids?
I hope Minecraft's still
Maybe.
around.
I mean, yeah, you can make them play Minecraft, but there'll be an equivalent game that's
There'll be
fucking
whatever
all
the
12-year-olds.
trend is for kids.
Oh, but think
I
about
wonder
that.
what it's going to be.
Imagine a
and
kid taking your debit card, debit card, and using it to buy skins in a game.
You know, you
Just
can
don't let them play FIFA where they buy FIFA packs.
Oh,
you know, like
There was
so.
someone that year that spent 300 quid on the dad's card. On
did the
FIFA
dad
packs.
know?
Yeah, they found out and he got told off.
Oh, that's it. He just got told off.
Well, did you know you
I
can
don't
set?
know. Yeah.
So when I was setting up the PS4 as a joke, I set myself as the leader of the family account. So I banned my
You
little
are the
brother out.
leader.
I banned my little brother out of playing 18 plus games. He got really annoyed at me, and he was like, "Why
What
can't
you
I
should do
play
is your
them?"
little brother.
And I'm like, "Because you're not 18, Luke." And he's like, "But I want to play the games." And he wasn't allowed to voice chat in games because it was like, "There's a chance of explicit content," and I found that fucking hilarious.
Oh, because you're so mean.
This is
I
a
ended,
good parent.
I ended up taking it off because I just thought it was funny because I trust him to not be fucking stupid.
I don't trust us to not be stupid. Never mind other
But
people.
you can set a limit on the amount per month that they can take out of the account. So you can be like, okay, you've got a tenner a month that you can spend on fucking random stuff.
I'm going to get the new Valorant
Yeah.
set. It's only £70.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Mother, I would like the new Valorant collection.
But the idea is that it's like, oh, okay, we'd set that up, or you could like set them a budget or something like that, or just have that
Yeah,
honest
you
and
can
open
just
conversation.
make them do the chores and shit and get pocket money. And
If
just use
you
that.
if you clean the dishes, you'll get 200 V-bucks.
I mean, if that's what we want to spend the pocket money on, then fine.
Hey,
There's also been studies on kids, and they're less socially capable when they have more screen time.
Well, yeah, because they're not talking to anyone.
Yeah,
No,
but
I
think
mean,
about this.
like,
You could play with
they're
your
sure to
child.
talk to each other in person.
Yeah.
You,
Like,
get
kids
you
aren't-
could play with your child and entertain them, or you could hand them a phone that shuts them
That's
off.
the thing.
Yeah.
It's easier to just give them a fucking device and they'll watch the thing and they shut up.
I remember when my sister has had a baby. I remember she said, "Oh, he's not having a games console or anything or any exposure to a phone or anything." You never guess what? He's always on a phone or something or watching Peppa Pig.
Yeah, like, because it's
Mm.
just easier. Because being
Yeah.
a parent's fucking hard.
So
Especially
you
if you're
shouldn't
like,
deny them the technology, though.
like, especially another thing, being a parent's really difficult, especially if you're working. Because a lot of the time, right? Because being a parent is a full-time thing. And a lot of the time, both parents have jobs these days. because they just have to economically. You can't really afford to not.
Yeah.
Which means parents are tired. They don't have the time to look after and dedicate literally the amount of time and effort you would be putting into a job into looking after a child.
I think we should have like Hogwarts, but
Boarding schools?
Yeah, just boarding schools. But for people who can't, not as like a, oh, I don't want to raise my kids so they can go to boarding school, but for people who genuinely would, their kids will be disadvantaged because they don't get any to spend time
That's
with
called
their.
foster care. That's
Yes,
called
well,
like the thing
If
about
you
that
can't
is
afford to spend time with your kids, like if you know that you will be able to raise them and stuff like that, then don't have the kids.
yeah, but sometimes
If you're not
things
in a
happen,
position.
Ben.
what you're saying there,
Sometimes you slip on a
is-
banana peel and impregnate a woman, Ben.
Ben. That's kind of, you got to be careful there, because what you're kind of saying is, yo, if you're poor, don't add to the gene pool. That's what
Yeah.
you're saying there.
If you
Poor
can't
people
afford to raise a kid, then why would you put them through it?
Why would you? It's for a lot of people, it's that desire to have a child. It's to bring something into their life. Sometimes
Well,
kids,
just because you want it doesn't mean you can have it, though.
You know,
but
it's fine just in that, yeah.
but what you're saying there is,
You know what, Frank? I want to go to space, but I'm not Jeff Bezos.
yeah,
It
there's a
costs a
difference.
lot of money to raise a child, and if you can't afford it, it's going to negatively affect them. So what's the point putting them through it?
So you're saying poor people shouldn't have children? That's what you're saying?
Well,
Is that not what you're saying? You're doing it in flowery words, but if we boil it down to its core concept, what you're saying there is, if you are poor and have to work a full-time job because you are at a lower form of employment, you shouldn't have children.
Well, that just sets them a goal, doesn't it? It sets them the goal of getting a higher income so that they can one day have that baby.
So only the middle class should have children. Is that what you're saying?
It's
Because that's the thing. I'm not
it's another one for me because I agree with
So-
both of you.
So you can't afford to
don't think we-
feed a child. You can't afford to spend
No,
time with them.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they can't afford to feed the child, because a lot of times they can. It's just
Okay.
that because they're
But
working
to
a
raise a
lot.
child, it's more than just feeding them. Isn't
Exactly.
it?
Exactly.
You need to be able to raise them, like
So what you're
spend time
saying
with
is,
them.
if you can't support,
If you can't support a child, then don't have one.
yeah, but
what?
what in essence
if
what
you
I'm
can't
saying is,
if you can't support a child,
two
can you
working
support a
class.
child right now, Frank?
I'm on an apprenticeship wage. Fuck no.
So if I gave you a child, would that be right?
I'd be like, why the fuck have you given me this child, Ben? This isn't
If you-
mine.
If you fell in love today and got a woman pregnant,
And if she wanted to keep the kid, then I'd do my best.
But you was actively seeking out to get a kid right now in your current financial situation.
I wouldn't actively seek out a kid in my current financial situation. But a lot of time, people aren't actively
people
seeking out
do.
kids. Yeah, but because...
Is it right, though?
But you're arguing that it's because of their financial situation they shouldn't be allowed to breed. You are not allowing them to have kids.
I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed, I'm saying they need to think about it.
Yeah, and a lot of the time they are. Or they want kids, and it's this desire in them. And for them, it brings them that sense of fulfillment. But I feel like we've gone down a weird tangent here.
sounds a bit like a snowflake to me. I want this, so I'm going to have it.
But
what it sounds like to me. You can't even. You've gone silent because it's true. It's
true. It's true.
You've got to be responsible to be a parent, and if you're not responsible to decide whether you can raise a child or not, are you ready to have a child? I'm not saying you can't have a child, but should you be having one?
But the argument is by saying that you should only have a child if you can financially support having one person full-time dedicated to them. In the current economic situation, that's middle class.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you should only have a child if you're middle class.
If that's what it takes to be able to support and raise a child, so it's like happy, then yeah.
I just feel it just it's
Having a
it's
child is a privilege. You need to work for it.
that's what you're saying though, and I don't know. There's something about that just it just fucking I don't know. I feel a bile like right here.
There's cases
I've
for
been
both because there's definitely people who shouldn't be parents.
There's definitely a economic.
But there's people who should be parents, and I don't think that should be decided by their financial state.
Yeah, exactly. Some people would make great parents, but are going to struggle because of their financial situation. Because a lot of people,
and it's not fair to put that kid through the struggle, is it?
So there should be support systems in place.
There are.
Help that kid.
But then you get, I hate to even mention this, but you get people who will have kids
just for
so
the support
that they
system.
can have support.
Yeah, which is a big problem.
And then you end up with people having more kids to get more support because the support they're getting isn't enough.
Yeah, and that causes the support to be even worse.
But then, what do you do against that? You can't really do anything about that without removing protections from people who need it.
Well, you need to give the people more education on this when they're younger so that they can maybe have a higher income or they can learn how
can support themselves.
Well,
just increase, make the minimum wage equal to the living wage.
This is a big tangent, and it should be a question on its own.
It is a big question, completely.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's the argument that's having here is
the problem is if you start giving everyone more money, the value of money goes down. So we'll just be in the same situation. You're always going to have people who have more money or less money because if everyone has the same amount of money, guess what? Money means nothing.
So the problem is capitalism.
In a way, yes.
I think in a few weeks' time, we should ask this question again.
What, when we've all collated notes and we've gone, all right, I'll go read Das Kapital.
If you want to do that, fine.
No,
we should go back to technology and how it affects kids.
Okay, that's fair. But basically back to what started off that fucking tangent. The technology is being used as a crutch, basically, because a lot of families don't have time to look after their kid, or they're tired after work and stuff like that. So it's easier to just put this screen in front of your child. And the problem you have is when you're using YouTube content creators, especially influencers, are basically raising a generation of kids. It's weird to look at, like, because if you think about like the sort of your in a way
the Oscar raised us.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's a weird thing to think about, but yeah.
It's weird to think about, right? Like YouTube influencers, especially like
guys, remember Total Biscuit?
Like those people have a big impact on the kid. Because
like the only thing you can do is keep an eye on it.
Yeah, keep an eye on it. Like, make sure your kid isn't watching Shin content,
Don't get lazy in parenting.
Did you like that, George? Oh no, my child is watching the Calfcast.
I miss you.
Oh, no.
I miss Terps.
For fuck's sake.
Why did you have to bring this up, Frank?
But that's the thing. Like, especially with a lot of these content creators, like, there's a lot. How much of your childhood was spent watching Tobuscus videos?
I don't know, but it's that whole argument as whether censorship is the right thing to do. Should things be censored to shelter the children, or should they be exposed to these things so that they can learn how to cope with them? To
you shouldn't
be in a world where it exists.
Censorship's lazy.
I feel like you need to make people aware of what's in the world, but influencers and a lot of the way it's portrayed on the internet isn't the correct way to learn about things.
When you censor stuff, it's putting the responsibility onto the platform instead of the parent.
It should be two ways. There needs to be responsibility with both, because the platform has a responsibility to not promote certain things.
The platform should be able to do whatever the platform wants, but it needs to specify that it's doing this. But when you're a child, you don't care. You don't read all of the things that it is like.
Like my kid, up until they're like 11, I'm probably going to be like, I'd probably rather than going to like YouTube and stuff like that, I'd funnel them towards whatever streaming service I'm currently using, and just funneling towards the kids stuff that's available on that as like their TV and stuff like that.
You want your kid to be one of those kids who just watches Disney movies?
No, I'm thinking like there's basically some kids shows that you have, like Amazon Prime and Netflix have like kids sections
And
basically.
Netflix has got an entire like profile you can make just for kids.
Yeah, like stuff like
Get
that.
this, why don't you just get your kids to watch the TV shows you're watching, even if it's too mature for them, because you're there to guide them through it. If they're like, "Oh, Daddy, what are
you
those
want
two
to
people
watch-
doing? They're making a baby."
You want to watch like some of them, like their modern TV shows, so they can
I don't want my child to
interact
watch
with their
High School
friends about
DxD
it.
with me. Thanks. I like
Don't
that
worry, you'll
joke.
be in high school next year, son. You got all this
This
to
is
come.
exactly what it's like, son. This is you're going to high school and it's exactly like this.
And just to put some context into this, and for viewers who don't know what High School DxD is, it's about a school kid in Japan, and he joins in Japan they have like the after school clubs. This one's more of a cult, and the leader's a succubus.
Yes, it's weird. I've seen
Yeah.
2 episodes. It's just porn, and the Japanese try to pretend it's not, but they're lying.
It's funny though. It's funny porn. It's like interspecies reviewers.
Firstly, we're not talking. Can we stop talking about this when we're talking about raising
It's a
children?
comedy
Actually,
more than it's pornography.
but
Okay.
the thing is, it's just keeping an eye on what your kid's watching. Like,
Do
but
you think because our generation's like grown up with a lot of the technology?
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to keep up with it and
I feel like-
interact with your kids a lot more?
because
like when your kids are going to play
I feel
video
like
games,
people
but
like us will keep up
we're
with it
playing
because
with it.
we just sit inside all day and talk
yeah,
to
we
each other on
use tech
technology.
quite frequently.
But like pretty much all our
Work in
generation plays
IT.
video games,
Yeah,
so we'll probably be playing video games with our kids. Probably.
Well, it depends how
oh
good they are.
god.
If they're not in my comp bracket, then no.
Yeah,
Your
but
kid's gonna-
you'll play some like co-op games with them, stuff like that.
Like,
won't you?
no.
yeah, totally. I'd play like I'd probably end up getting like a Switch or whatever
The
Switch,
equivalent
Yeah.
all the time.
whatever the fucking Mario game is, because they'll be releasing the same fucking Mario game
Oh,
continuously.
I get to play
You'd
Mario
probably
Kart.
introduce them to like Minecraft and shit like that, won't you?
Yeah.
Or try to at least.
No, because my problem with Minecraft is I end up shitposting. I build weird things in Minecraft. I end up leaving
Yeah, but the
signs
problem
in
with
place.
Minecraft is if you get them into Minecraft,
would-
they're gonna immediately know what a penis is.
I'm going to grief my son's Minecraft base to teach him the way of the world.
What if you got a daughter and they learn into Minecraft and it's just the penis world where people have just made penises and it's just like, Dad, what are these?
I mean, you'd have to put them into the penis server, do you?
Well, what if they don't know and they go into Minecraft realms and then they go
I'd
into
probably-
a realm?
A
And it's the
lot of your
penis
realms.
realm.
A lot of your
That's why
realms.
you'd keep an eye on what they're doing.
Yeah, that
would say.
genuinely
Yeah,
it's
what
just keeping
happens
an eye on
when
your
you
kid.
go to bed on a night and they sneak up, go onto the laptop or computer whilst you're sleeping, and they go on the penis realm?
Well, then
Well,
they've done it to
that's still
themselves.
you need to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, but you can't be awake 24/7 to monitor them.
You-
If they
do you know
if they
you can-
want to do it, they're going to
Do you
deceive
know
you.
on parental controls on things like a console, because I probably wouldn't let my kid have a PC up until they're like at least like 16, 18.
Well,
Not as a
yeah,
gaming
but-
PC.
At school now, a lot of it is still on the PC, and they need one to do
Yeah,
the
you
homework
can
on.
have a laptop, but I'm not giving them a fucking gaming PC. Go fuck yourself. Like
Yeah, but
they
Get
Get them into Warhammer, Frank. Can't go wrong
They'll
there.
play all our games now on like high settings.
that's
If you
true.
think about it.
But there'll be some way of putting a parental control.
Well, they
on
can play
there.
good games like The Witcher 3. I don't
That's
care that
true.
it's got
Do
sex
you
and
want
stuff in it.
your-
It's The
Your
Witcher 3.
10-year-old playing that.
You know what?
I played games that were just as bad as. I played
Yeah.
Saints Row 2 when I was about that age,
I played GTA San Andreas when I was like 7.
and
I
we
did-
turned out okay.
Yeah.
My dad kept me kind of like I didn't really have a games console up until I was about like 13, 14. I had a
Ooh.
Wii, but like
My dad
doesn't
liked
really
playing games, so we always got a console.
nah, like I didn't really get.
I had a PlayStation
no,
2
it
when
was-
I was like 3.
It was year 7
Yeah.
actually that I first got a games console. It was the Xbox 360.
My dad used to be in.
You didn't have like a GameCube?
No.
Never had a GameCube.
I would go around
Yeah.
to mates' houses and do it. My dad's quite old fashioned. Like, do you know what I had for entertainment? Me and my dad sat watching World War II documentaries, and then during the break, right, my dad would go to his books on World War II to give me more context on what's going on. That was
Your dad sounds like a good dad.
Like it was. I have fucking really fond memories of that.
I remember growing up, I used to go to, because my mum and dad split up, I used to go to my dad's on weekends, and every Friday we used to watch a movie, and then every Saturday we used to watch Britain's Got Talent.
See,
Oh,
it's
God.
stuff like that. Like I'd want to build I'd want to do stuff with my kid to like that and be like, oh, okay, here's how we do this and stuff like that.
Actually,
And
think
if I
about that. We watch movies like Shawshank Redemption. Is that a kids' movie?
No.
I mean, it's not. It's not really anything. I haven't fucking watched it in fucking
What's the
ages.
rating of Shawshank?
It's very mature movie. Well, it's one of those movies. It's a mature movie, but it's an older movie, so it doesn't really stand up to modern day mature standards.
Yeah.
It's a 15.
Oh, breaking the law.
But
Yeah.
I feel like
Hmm.
it's all about that bonding. And as long as you're talking with your kid, I feel like I've got a very bad habit of just talking to kids like they're adults. Like
I think that's good because it shows some a bit more respect, and then they'll respect
that's
you more.
true, but when they're like one and can like they're not really fucking saying words, I'm just like,
But then they also don't understand you as well.
I just chat at them.
I do that with my nephew. I just be like, "Yeah, right." And he just look at me. It's
At
like
work,
1.5.
work once, one of the people I was working with, they were doing a test on a mother, and they were like, Frank, can you like distract this kid for a bit because it keeps coming up to the mum when I'm trying to run this test? And I was like, all right. So I just sat with this kid and just chatted at him, and they just looked at me like, what are you? What?
Do you like Warhammer? Let me introduce you.
And I just chatted with them like, all right, you want a drink? All right, what are you drinking, mate?
You whip out your player's handbook. Today, we're going to create a character.
Hey, Joe, when you play Wood Elf Ranger, like fucking unoriginal shit.
Well, Ranger, you're dead. Session 1, you die. Create a new
Yeah.
character.
You encounter a giant spider, it kills you.
Bringing back giant spiders a bit too soon.
Oh my god.
Anyway, I feel
PTSD.
like raising a child is down to the parent. So it's up to them to decide what they're watching and what they're not watching. If a parent thinks they are ready, mature enough for the internet and what's on it, then that's a risk the parents need to take and give them access to it. At the end of the day, the kids are going to view what the kid views. You can't stop them.
Yeah.
Eventually,
And I
the
don't think
kid's
it's
gonna see something
necessarily
out
a bad
of your
thing.
control.
They're going to see some fucked up stuff. I've seen fucked up stuff on the internet, but
Like you
it
can't
don't make
control
me
everything you
fucked
can
up.
see.
I think the biggest reason why is just because the previous generation didn't have a clue what the internet was, or like it's because technology advanced that quickly from like the 90s to the
I feel like we can't get
2010s.
we can't get too comfortable though, because I feel like there might be some big change. Because we can't foresee the big change. Because I doubt anyone foresaw the internet. Like I don't know what
Yeah.
it could be.
But
I
I
can't
feel like our generation can deal with it a lot better. I feel like
because
we
we've
can
had
adapt
so
to
many
it
different
more.
changes. Because
Yeah.
tech keeps changing.
We went from the Nokia brick phone to the
I remember
smartphone
having a
now.
BlackBerry.
Oh my god!
I remember
I
going on
remember my
Tubbedy
first
to download
phone,
music.
and it had Snake on it.
Yeah, Snake would great.
Oh man, guys, let's play Snake.
Guys,
That's
let's
the
go
best mobile
bowling.
games.
You say
But
let's go
what
bowling.
happened to mobile
I
games?
want to go bowling.
Well, they all became microtransaction hells.
I
There
know.
are some good mobile games. You can get board games on mobile. I play Seven Wonders on mobile quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
fun.
it's just
All right.
yeah.
Should we wrap up now? So we're at an
I
hour
feel
and
like
15 minutes.
it is a
Yeah.
lot of. You just got to keep
Parents.
an eye on what the kid
We're
is
wrapping
doing
up,
on the
Frank. We're
internet.
wrapping. Frank. We're wrapping up.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm wrapping
Go on,
up.
give me a one sentence wrap up of what you.
yeah.
Think
Frank,
about
what's your
it. So,
opinion? One sentence.
fuck. Ben, you
Yeah,
go
that's
first.
a sentence.
Good job, Frank.
Yeah.
Ben, your sentence.
It's down to the parents. Just keep an eye on your kids, and they should be fine.
Keep an eye on your
I'm exactly
child.
the same. It's down to the parents. Parents are raising the kids. The parents should know what's best for them. They know them better than anyone else, apart from the kids themselves. Frank, would you like to reiterate yours?
I think it is just
Good job, Frank.
making sure
Right.
you're interacting with
Thank
children.
you for watching the Confused Yorkshireman podcast today, or listening to the Confused Yorkshireman podcast today. I've been your host, George. These have been my good friends, colleagues, Ben and
Acquaintances.
Frank.
I'm Ben.
Bye.
And if
Make
you've
sure to
been
like and
enjoying this,
subscribe.
we're going to get to
Smash
that now.
that like button.
Well, they've said it for me. And if you have any questions for us or any input on this question, feel free to at us on social media?
Yes, we have a TikTok. You can ask me on there.
We have a
We-
Twitter as well, but
Do we? Has it been made?
the
It's
Twitter.
not me, it's just the top posted, has it?
We've got
It's because
it.
Twitter's a
Guys, we've got a
hellscape. I don't know what
Twitter.
to fucking do with
We've
it.
got a Twitter.
Just tweet
what's the
at me
name?
and I'll tweet
Frank,
back.
what's the name of the
It's
account?
fucking. I think it's just Confused Yorkshireman. Not gonna lie.
At Confused Yorkshireman on Twitter, and we'll respond. Frank's
Let me
going to pass me the details
Frank will
right
respond.
now. Frank,
I'm
you don't
opening
want
it up.
Twitter account. But yep, wrapping up. We've been the
Also,
Confused
leave a
Yorkshireman.
review so people can find us easier.
Oh,
That's it.
Twitter on my phone
Okay,
crashed.
wrapping
So
up. It's been nice speaking to you guys, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye.
bye.